Hi, and welcome to Finding Our Way. It's a special edition on the 2008 election coverage, starting from 2 years ago. I mean, the battles and the heartache and the pain and the suffering that people went through on this campaign, and the winning and the losing. But let's introduce our special guest on today. We have a regular on Finding Our Way, Brittany Baruso from the class of 2010. And then we have our Steve Butari, who will be joining us here on our panel from the class of 2009. Thank you all for joining us here on Finding Our Way. All right, we're just going to talk. I'm expecting some, opinions. What do you? I mean, on this whole election, starting 2 years ago with the Democrats in general. I mean, what an election! I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, this really was. People are saying, "Oh, it was a historic election, the first black president, all that kind of stuff." But if you look back historically, it was really significant because there was no front runner. There was no person that said, "Oh, I'm going to run, and then this is who's going to challenge me." There were no incumbents on either side, and not only that, in each respective field, in the Democrats' field and in the Republicans' field, it was a wide open playing field the whole time. And so kind of narrowing down those players as we went on during the race was what made it so exciting and so historic, and obviously the outcome as well.
Let's talk about the Republicans. It was such an interesting race from the beginning. John McCain, in the beginning of this race, he was carrying his own luggage to a small chartered plane, like no press. One reporter reporting on him. Who would have thought that John McCain, who was like close to being pretty much dead in the water without New Hampshire, and New Hampshire loves him. He can be president of New Hampshire. But just to think that he became the candidate for the Republican Party, a maverick, as they kept saying throughout this whole entire campaign, because he was. His record shows that. But what are your views on John McCain representing the Reagan Republican Party?
Yeah, I think that he had a big appeal to the moderates and to the independents, and that they knew that he was going to have that position, and maybe that's why he was picked to represent his party. It wasn't so much as, where he came from. It was more the fact that people did see him as a maverick. They saw him as someone different than just George Bush. And I don't think it was until people really started, the Obama campaign started really associating him with same old policy as usual and politics as usual that, he started to move away from what they originally intended him to be as a moderate, independent, progressive Republican.
Yeah, and Darryl, it's interesting that you bring up New Hampshire when talking about McCain because, he won it back in, 2000? And then he won it again in 2008. And although he lost it in the general election to Obama. But New Hampshire was really kind of like the signaling of a new wind for McCain, and kind of really just breathed life into his campaign. Without winning New Hampshire back in the primaries, I don't think he would have gone anywhere.
Well, now we're talking about New Hampshire. Let's jump to the Democrats really quick. We'll go back to the Republicans, but Hillary Clinton, the fighter. I must say, I did support Hillary Clinton in the beginning of this campaign. I was a Hill Blazer. I actually went to New Hampshire when she won it, so it was a big experience for me, and I love her. But anyway, let's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, reminiscing.
Senator of New York. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about that big upset that she gave us. Yeah. No one was expecting that. It seemed like she lost Iowa. That was sort of like, okay, if she loses Iowa,
sure.
She doesn't really seem to have a chance. And she was, even back in the beginning 2 years ago, she was hands down going to be the next president of the United States. It was just assumed because first of all, it was sort of like a Democratic win. It was a year for a Democrat to win. Everyone has felt that. Yeah. The Republicans, they did fight and they put up a good fight, but it's a Democratic year, and even the Senate and the Congress. But how did you feel about the Hillary factor in this election?
Hillary was just, I honestly thought she was going to be the next Democratic nominee and then probably the next president and the first female president. And it wasn't until Barack Obama really, what he did was he did something that Hillary couldn't do. Well, he did two things that Hillary couldn't do. First, he got the youth movement behind him because whoever can really tap into the youth, well, it's kind of it's a tough battle because if you can actually get them to support you, that's great. But then if they don't turn out and vote, it's useless and it's kind of just waste of resources. But Barack Obama was able to do that. Hillary wasn't able to connect with college students as much. And the second thing that Barack was able to do that Hillary just couldn't do was create that grassroots effort because Barack Obama ran a brilliant campaign And he basically, in every sense of the word, out-campaigned every one of his opponents, both Democratic and Republican. And it really started, in these small contributions of $5, $10, $15, and get these people to come out to canvass and to make phone calls. So it started not with, kind of from the top down, but from the bottom up. And that's what really led him to win. And that's where Hillary kind of went wrong, although she had a great campaign and she did, crack that glass ceiling. So it was interesting.
I think it's important to point out that when Obama was elected and not Hillary, it was the first time in 20 years that a Bush or a Clinton hasn't been on the ballot. That is the ending of a dynasty right there.
It really is.
And maybe
a family dynasty.
Yeah, probably marking the start of 21st century American politics,
Absolutely.
too.
And you brought up the 21st century. I mean, these two parties, they're known for their set agenda, or, you have to be conservative, liberal, moderate. Okay. The direction that the Democratic Party is going in, now that Barack Obama is the leader of the Democratic Party, it's not the same as the regular old Democrat. It's a new movement. I mean, even the fact that he raised all that money without any lobbyists, any hand from any companies or anything like that, that alone is a new way of politics. Let's also look at the Republican Party. They're saying, the vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin. There's talk about her being, the leader of the Republican Party, maybe. We'll talk about that in a bit. But these are new kind of politicians. They're not the same old, Kennedys or even, what is your view on that? That they're like a new party is beginning.
Yeah, it really is. It really does seem like we have a new breed of politicians. They've kind of learned from their ancestors in both parties as to, what to do, what not to do, and they really seem they're so much more polished. They don't ever answer a question. They just kind of give their talking points. But more than that, they're playing to their bases very, very well. They've learned what their constituents want to hear from each party. And more than that, they've learned what they need to do to really win over those independents, which are becoming, that segment of the population that affiliates themselves with the independents, becoming larger and larger each election. Because people are just kind of getting sick of the two traditional parties. So they're realizing that they need to somehow create this new way to spark interest in the parties again and bring it back to partisan politics, as much as people don't want it to be.
I think Obama isn't just a politician. He is a brand. He is a brand with a catchphrase and a slogan, and his slogan is, "Yes, we can." And I think that he wasn't just saying, listen, I'm a Democrat, I want the Democrats to win, therefore I'm running, and the rest of America, oh well, whatever happens to, happens to. He was saying, I'm an American, and I have this dream and this goal and this vision for all of us, and together, yes, we can.
Yeah, politics is the most exciting advertisement that any person could have. It's an integrated marketing campaign. It's traditional public relations, then it also has a kind of a buzz marketing aspect to it, where really you're just trying to create a sense of positioning, which is where someone relates themselves to a brand. And so it really is just branding and positioning, and it's straight up marketing.